Well, I guess there's nothing else to really say other than I'm back. For those of you who have been with the channel for a while and remember me, hi there. If you just subscribed but forgot at one point, or you subscribed at one point but you forgot, hi there, I'm Brian. And if you just stumbled upon this video and have no idea what's going on, yeah, hi, still Brian. So, for just moving on, my last videos released sometime around June 2020, and that was a strange year for all of us, you know, to be very basic about it. And I'll admit that this won't be the most exciting or happy video at first, but you just gotta go through some of the good stuff to get to the good, right? I mean, that's what they all say. But I remember planning out making so many videos that I just never released and have subsequently lost to time, including the fact that the computer that I was using on it got destroyed in a move. So yeah, there's that. And I had released both a catch-up review and also my first video game review with Last of Us Part 2. The latter of which I was really proud of as a first review for a video game, and I was even planning on doing a Ghost of Tsushima review since it came out shortly after, but a mix of things happened, namely the fact that I felt like I was trying to rush to finish the game in order to get out a review, which was just, it was stressing me out, and also because there wasn't much to do during the pandemic. And with the pandemic going on, I was staying inside of a 200 square foot military dorm room in South Korea all the time, and I was just working. And I just kept getting more and more depressed, just existing, basically. So I stopped working on the channel in any way. I started getting more into the atmosphere over there, which was primarily drinking and working and drinking and working. And a lot has happened since that last video that would take a lot of time to explain if I went into detail, so I'll hit the major things first. First off, as you can probably tell through the longer, thicker hair, and the goatee, I am no longer in the military. I left the Air Force back in October of 2021. I didn't get kicked out or anything, don't worry about that. I was coming to the end of my enlistment, and I was just ready to get out. But honestly, I had been ready to get out for most of the time that I was in. It was a trauma-filled and stressful time for the almost 8 years that I was in. And it didn't get much better since that last video either. For instance, some of you may remember that occasionally I would mention my girlfriend, who later became my wife, Mallory, throughout my videos. She even showed up in a couple of the earlier ones. Well, I'm not going to go into detail, but basically that's over. We're divorced now. The official separation happened not too long after that last video, and the details behind that definitely led to a later descent into further depression and anxiety issues, which I hadn't, at that point I had not been officially diagnosed with depression and anxiety. I am now. I have very severe depression and anxiety that I'm currently going through therapy for, and I have been for a few months, and I'm still trying to sort out everything on top of those other things that led me into my mental health struggles that happened ever since I decided to join the Air Force. And these are things that I will always struggle with, even with the help of therapy, or with the help that therapy will bring in the long run. Despite the fact that I feel better just for this last half year that I've been in therapy, I've gotten so much better. I've had an easier time actually working through my struggles and being able to coexist with my traumas and live above them, but there are times where it becomes very overwhelming. But anyway, getting out of the depressing stuff. So after Korea, I lived in California for about 8 months. I was stationed near Sacramento. That one wasn't too bad, but I still, I needed to, when I was getting out, I needed to have a fresh start. So now I'm living in the upstate part of South Carolina. I've been living here since I left at the beginning of October 2021. And for now, this is where I am. I have family that lives near here. I live in my own place, but I have the new job, this new apartment, and I love this apartment that I have. I have a new girlfriend also. That one's more of a recent development, but it's still a wonderful and positive development. So I at least wanted to put in a little bit more of a positive thing in there. But for this place, it took me a while to feel it. It took me a little bit. It didn't take me too long. It did take me a bit to fully feel it. But this place does feel like home. Both the area, but especially the apartment. I'm sure that I'll likely show off parts of the apartment in the future, especially since I am kind of trying to build a nerd paradise for myself. I will definitely show off my office, though. Likely first in a review, but then maybe I'll do some office updates occasionally to show off the different things I've done with the space so far. And just little updates whenever I add stuff, every once in a while. But right now, as you can see, just in this section, there is a very basic table. I don't know if it looks cluttered right now, but believe me, it was a little bit worse before I made the video. And then, nice little pièce de résistance right here. I have a 3,000-piece puzzle of the MCU, every single movie leading up to Endgame. This thing took me a month to build, and I fucking love it. This is amazing. This is an amazing picture. I absolutely love it. But, yeah, that's all you're going to see for right now. Maybe even in the next video. But I eventually want to show you everything that's in here, because this room is decorated in a very unique fashion, and I absolutely love it. But yeah, so the basic table. This is where I will be doing all of my editing and video creation. Since it's been a while since I've done any editing or even just thumbnail creation, bear with me for the time being, as I need to reorient myself. Plus, my editing software has gone through about maybe 2.5 years of updates since the last time I used it, so I need to figure out the differences and like the new additions. But I really look forward to this. As far as the videos themselves, I will mostly be doing film reviews, though I'm gonna be a little slow to start out with. I had really overwhelmed myself with the planned videos back in mid-2020, especially especially because they involved a lot of catch-up reviews for the prior year and the earlier parts of 2020 before the pandemic started hitting and everything. And I really burnt myself out, so that's why I'm going to start off a bit slow. My goal is to do at least one theatrical release a week, and even a video where I do reviews on all new releases that I see, which I'm going to try to limit it to like 2 or 3 at most, just so that the editing is a little bit easier for me, since I'll only need to do one video at that time. But all of this is dependent on what's available in my area. But if I can, I want to focus on one video a week, also on top of the new releases, for some of my favorite franchises, just so I can easily use those as ways to both talk about films that I've always wanted to talk about, plus it'll help me get back into the rhythm of this. For instance, while I have done videos in the past for the MCU specifically, I haven't done much. Oh, sorry. I'm not used to talking in front of camera anymore, and I'm trying to keep as little edits out of this as possible. Oh, delicious. I'm trying to do it as little as possible just so I can get this video out, and then over the next couple of days work on relearning editing. But I'm very much contemplating on making new reviews of the ones that I've already done, so like the Guardians of the Galaxy ones, Endgame, stuff like that. Pretty much the ones that I've already done, I'm contemplating doing new ones and just starting from scratch. Obviously, I'll do the ones that are coming out in the near future, like Ant-Man is the next one. And while I'm also doing those, I am thinking about just taking every single MCU movie and just doing them one by one by one until I finish. But that's an example. I also want to start doing Wizarding World, like with the main Harry Potter films, as well as the Fantastic Beasts films that I hadn't tackled yet, because I only did one Fantastic Beasts movie, if I remember correctly. And as I go on, I'll start changing it up a little bit. But as I said, goal right now, to not burn myself out, is one theatrical film a week, based off of my local options. I do live in a relatively populous area, but sometimes I don't get certain indie fare, or it takes a lot longer for me to get it out here. Like, hell, I don't think Everything Everywhere All at Once I got to see eventually, but I didn't see it until about a month and a half after it started releasing in the theaters, just because it hadn't come to my area yet, and I didn't want to, I don't make enough money right now to where I can just go out and drive 3 hours to like a big city to go where I make sure that I see a movie. Like, unless I only do that if I happen to be in that city already. Like, I was in Atlanta the other week and I saw The Whale, and yeah, maybe someday I'll get in a review of that, but whew, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I will not be trying to catch up with the films that I watched between the review of Da 5 Bloods and now, because that's a year and a half, maybe a little longer. And that's definitely going to be overwhelming if I try that. If I do get to any of those, it'll be more in a natural way. Maybe an example would be because a specific release coincides with a film that's about to come out, or a film from that time is coinciding with a film that's coming out. Like how I'd love to do a review of 1984's Dune and Dune Part 1 from last year before I do Dune Part 2, which comes out this year, just as an example. And at the end of the day, it's my desire to start doing this regularly again. Even with the mental health breaks that I had to take during the original run of the channel, I still could relatively and easily jump back in. But this hasn't been my life for the past 2 years. And I've had plenty of chances to start back up in the last couple of months. But I would start getting into my head all the work that's going to be done and how... One of my cats is messing with the... they like crawling into cabinets, and I just heard one of them close. Sorry, that threw me off. I would get into my head all the hard work that's to be done and how I'm going to go about it, and I would just get so overwhelmed, and I would honestly slip into a depression episode. Actually, I'm not going to lie, before this, I had to do an errand with one of my parents. I had to help them with something at home, because it's a little bit easier, because my parents are in their 60s, and they just needed that extra help. So I went there early so that I could just start working on this, because I didn't know how long that was going to take, and I didn't know how long this was going to take. For instance, what time is it right now? It's right now as I'm recording it, it is 3:01 p.m. It feels like it's 7 at night. That's how I get whenever I get like super nervous and anxious, is that time feels like it's speeding up way too quickly, and I feel like I don't have enough time to do anything during the entire thing. Anyway, sorry about that. I'll move on from that, but I finally gotten to the point where I can either just do it or not do it at all, and I wanted to make that compromise with myself of the single video a week minimum, and I'm honestly, like, as nervous as I maybe look and how I feel inside, I know that I'm excited to get back into this, because I've been passionate about movies for a decade now. I mean, I've loved movies ever since I was a little kid, even back to when I would go visit my dad's mom, and we would watch VHS, we would watch the VHS versions of the original Indiana Jones trilogy, or the 1997 Star Wars trilogy special editions, like right after Lucas had started digitally altering some of his movies. Like, those are some of my earliest memories, so movies have been an important part of my life, but it started becoming really big, like its own fandom to me, when I started discovering people like Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, when I started watching Collider back when it was its own show, and even now today when I'm watching daily, I'm watching the John Campea show and every single thing that he does, just because I discovered him through Collider, and I thought, this is a guy that I want to stick around with. But like I said, I've been very passionate about movies for almost a decade now, to the point where this is my biggest fandom. And all of my other fandoms are primarily or partially movie-based as well, so that also helps. And with this, I want to, I'd love to be able to do this part-time. Obviously, I want to be able to do this to where I can, like, kind of make, like, this more than a hobby. But at the same time, I want to do this because I remember enjoying it so much, and even with the times where I would get stressed out about doing this again, I've still missed it because of how much fun I had just doing everything, going out to all of these movies, coming back, and just talking about it with you guys. And I want to use this channel as a platform to create a community, no matter how big or how small, just somewhere where I can have an outlet to talk about the things that I love, even if it's not solely focused on just movies after a while, but also where you all can find an outlet as well to share in the movie love and just pop culture in general, because things in the world have gotten precarious, I guess you can say, and we all need our outlets. So you will be seeing me very soon, but before I go, I will do the cliche YouTube thing. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Oh, hi. My cat is down here. Hang on. Come here. Hey, this is Memento. Her name is Mimi. She does not like being on the camera. You okay? She doesn't like being picked up either. She's really weird about that. But I just, in case there was a little bit of shaking on there, I wanted to show you. She was, she's freaking out. There we go. Yep. She was knocking into the damn, into the tripod, so I didn't want that to happen. Shit, where was I? I'm sorry. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and those options are down below. I will see you guys in the next video, and keep on being awesome, my friends.